Hey, what's up? It is CJ Banks, your host for the Hype Podcast, helping you proclaim excellence. And to my left.
Yes, it's Shayna Van Dyne coming at you here tonight, and we have a very special guest. We have the New York State Commissioner of Civil Service, Tim Hougues.
Yeah, what's up?
Thank you.
You did
How y'all
not
doing?
say you didn't say your co-host.
That's all right.
I did really well. You got...
You said, I'm here tonight.
She was focusing.
Come
It's
on.
all good.
All
I
right,
wanted to
all
get
right.
it
all
right.
good.
Shanna
Dang.
is the co-host.
Extraordinaire.
I think I did say
Extraordinary.
co-host.
You didn't say.
No,
Oh,
I'm
okay.
gonna get this to her.
Throw the flag.
Thank you.
Boom.
Thank
Throw the flag. Let's see.
Let's
The red flag.
replay.
Replay.
No, it's good.
you. No,
It's good.
we're
Okay.
keeping it. We're rolling.
All right,
That's all the way live, man.
So we are in the house.
Yes, sir.
And with my man, 50 grand.
My man, my mellow.
We go back a long ways,
Yes,
long
sir.
time. So,
Yes, sir. I'm just happy you finally gave me an invite to get on the show, man.
You was one of the first people we said
You
we
were.
need to get on,
You
but
were.
you're busy. You in Albany, you doing
yeah.
big things. You know what I'm saying?
We trying.
Come on,
Finding
man.
the jobs.
Yeah,
Yes,
the
yes.
jobs, baby.
I
People
love
need
that.
to work, right?
Yep,
So
yep,
that's what
yep.
we do.
So how we started off
Yeah.
normally is we
Co-host said, "Don't slouch."
make sure that
I said I gotta
You're just
get
going
up.
to regret it.
Yeah,
That's all.
yeah.
we make sure that we give you an opportunity to introduce yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You know, along with what Shayna said, I believe that you know yourself better.
Okay.
So
Okay.
you can introduce yourself, say whatever you want to say, and kind of let's get started.
I'm me. Hi.
All right.
I'm just down to earth. I'm a
Yeah.
down to earth dude. I'm a servant leader.
Uh-huh.
And that's what it's about.
That's what's up.
So when you talk about the other stuff, like you said, I'm the New York State Commissioner of Civil Service and the president of the New York State Civil Service Commission. And it's a pretty cool gig. I get to have a lot of fun and try to connect individuals with opportunities for New York State employment so they can have careers. We oversee, it's called NYSHIP. It's a New York State insurance plan that has over 1.3 million lives that are connected. It's the largest.
Wow.
And so, yes, it's responsibility and stuff, but you take it in
What's up?
stride. I got a dope team that has been there and have been doing this for quite some time, and so it's all good, you know.
Yeah.
You know, and she said, "Hey, are you a dad? I have 3 children.
3 children.
Yeah.
3 children, 23, 18, and 17.
Wow.
Wow, you
Chris,
look young.
yeah,
I mean,
Yeah, he's got a Chris, too.
23.
yeah,
He's
Chris.
got a Chris
yes,
too.
yes.
That's cool.
Yeah, my Chris came after KRS-One. That was the inspiration
okay.
for my
So is
Chris.
it
I'm a
Chris with a
hip-hop fan.
K?
No, it's just with a C.
It's CRS1.
But yeah. Knowledge reigns supreme.
Yeah,
that's what it's about.
dope.
Yeah,
I'm working on getting him to come to the college, KRS One, to
Oh,
do a
yeah.
lecture in
Yeah.
February.
So I missed him. So it was the Black and Puerto Rican Caucus in Albany last year,
I was supposed to go
and I
too.
left on Saturday, and he was there on Sunday
Wow.
and spoke, and then performed.
Wow. And you missed
Him
it.
and Busta.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
Him
He
and
was doing that
Busta.
too. Yep.
And I
yep.
missed it. Oh, I was hurt.
He just came to Rochester, didn't
I was
he?
Yeah.
hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
'cause I remember he said
I
that.
was definitely hurt. But.
Yeah. So, all right. So let's dig in. You are, of course, a man of faith,
Yeah.
right? So let's talk a little bit about that. How long have you been? Like, have you
Forever,
always
ever?
been?
Ever?
Okay. So you grew up in the church, or
grew up in the church.
Okay.
Going to church with my buddy Derek Barber's grandmother. She used to just take us. And when I started going, I went for the milk and cookies and the donuts that was happening.
Right.
But, you know,
what church did you go to? My church never had milk and cookies and donuts.
Yeah,
it was just that little cracker.
Yeah, it was.
I went to that church too.
It was a predominantly Caucasian church of Delaware, Pastor Sue Smith.
Okay.
Okay, so did you grow up in Buffalo?
Yeah, I grew up in Buffalo.
Yeah.
So I've always been around it. My parents are individuals of faith. My grandmother, grandfather, all that stuff, and the big Sunday dinners and all that good stuff. And so, yeah, it's actually what keeps me grounded and allows me to have a lot of fun and understand and put everything in perspective, basically.
Yeah.
Because that's huge to me.
Right. You sing?
Solo.
Can you?
Solo. We
Can
can't
you-
hear you.
Solo.
So you sing
Solo.
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 Oh.
Actually, it's funny. I've been married 25 years.
Nice.
Boop, boop, boop.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. This past June we celebrated 25 years. But my wife sings.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Come on, I know him for so long, and I didn't know your wife sings.
Yeah, my eldest sings, Chris.
Really?
He sings.
Gotta get him in the studio.
He sings and plays keyboard.
What's up? What?
My youngest,
Wait.
He plays guitar.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
How come
He's got a band. You didn't know.
Yeah.
He's known me with every studio I've had.
Yeah.
He's been around, and you never even introduced him.
You never asked.
What?
You know.
I had to wait to this podcast.
Yeah,
It's
to
a
the
guy's
podcast. I was
time.
waiting for the podcast.
It's a guy's time. Now's the time.
Now one.
Now on.
Yeah. Now's the time. There
Exactly.
it is. There it is.
You gotta drop the Hogues family album.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. And all I do is talk.
That's dope.
You can introduce them.
Hey, man,
I used to do the human beatbox stuff
Yeah.
back in the day.
Yeah. Okay. Let me tell you, when I saw you at the 43 North competition when you did the
Right.
that was
we were
dope,
there.
man. You did a good job. I was like, look at him, Tim. I was like, that. I was proud of you. I was like, that's my man up there. What's up?
That's my man's.
Yeah, you did really well.
Funny story.
Uh-huh.
I need glasses, but I refused to wear them. And they had a teleprompter that was like way away, and they was like, "Oh yeah, you could just read the teleprompter."
Right.
And I got there, and I was like,
"Whoop, on my own."
I said, "Oh, this is blurry."
Right.
And then I had a buddy of mine bring me my glasses, and it was still like blurry. I said, "Oh, we're gonna have to do something."
Right.
And so the energy in the room was just so low. Right, we're about to give away $5 million.
Yeah.
And people were like mulling around because it was a break in between. I said,
right.
I said, this is Buffalo.
Right. Now you did a good job.
Yeah, you brought it up.
I said, let's do this.
Yep.
They looked at me like, I was like,
sorry,
it's just me. It's just me, baby.
Yeah. No, that was dope.
Yeah, that was really good. So what do you think about that competition and like what it does for the workforce in Buffalo?
I like it. We really need to get more individuals involved. There's a lot of aspiring entrepreneurs locally.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
I know we're drawing from other parts of the country, but we have a lot of talent, a lot of individuals that are really looking to get on the map locally. And so after that competition, I really started thinking and started talking to a group of my friends and guys and started talking about, hey, how can we expose some individuals around here to that opportunity? I had heard about 43 North for the longest.
Yeah.
I remember the inception, and they were starting up in the concept. I even met a couple people that were a part of it, but I'd never gone to the actual competition, the presentation portion of it, and it was pretty cool. Actually, pretty dope.
Cool.
Right.
Yeah, Shannon, I tell you, I say that all the time. That's one of my major issues. Not issues, but I think there's a major opportunity with 43 North. The problem is, and even if I've been to almost all of them, right?
Okay.
And the problem is, most of the times when they come in, they ask them, about workforce development and how many jobs they're bringing, and most of the time their conversation is centered around UB and Buff State, the college students, right? And the problem is that the majority of people that go to UB and Buff State are going to be individuals that are coming from out of state, right? So you're really circumventing the community, right? Yeah, not all, but I'm saying.
I hear it coming.
What?
Hear it coming, ladies and gentlemen. Let's hit it.
What?
If they just reached out to Villa Maria College.
No, it ain't even that. It ain't even. It's not even that. It's not even college, though.
But that is a more natural.
Yeah.
And you're gonna get a more homegrown feeling.
Exactly.
More local.
Exactly. Because you're really not addressing the issue with the people that are in the city, and then that's when we start to have gentrification and all of that, because people start getting jobs, moving people out and things like that. So I think that there's definitely a need for us to, I'm a serial entrepreneur, so I believe,
I know about that.
entrepreneurship is the key to success, right? So and not just success for yourself or for your family, but for your community, right? So that's I agree with that. We need to make sure that we connect individuals in the community to this 43 North opportunity. And I was speaking with Maura, who I believe is the CEO or vice president.
Okay.
The head of 43 North. I'm not sure a title.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Maura. But
Sorry, Maura. He does. He really doesn't remember you all that well.
I do remember she came to the college and we
I
talked.
thought Colleen was the president.
No, Colleen Hedinger.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So Maureen, I don't know.
It's okay.
No, Colleen Hedinger.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's why she's the co-host.
I don't
Co-host
know.
is
I
with the
don't know.
mostest.
We need to
I'm just making
fact check.
sure.
We're gonna fact
But
check
anyway,
that. Pull that up for
No,
me. All
I
right.
was speaking with Maureen.
Okay.
And Maureen was, I was asking her about that, like, how do we get, more people connected? So I definitely am interested in being part of that group that you're talking about.
Yeah.
I think that, I like to motivate people into getting into their own space and figuring out how to cultivate the talent that God's given them and turn it into a way to support themselves, their family, and the community.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, now's the time, right?
Yep,
So I would
absolutely.
love if we can just linger here for a moment.
Yeah.
So I know you know the Tulsa, Oklahoma story of Black Wall Street and all that stuff, and some of the things that have transpired. So with the unfortunate attack and incidences that took place on 5/14, there has been a renewed focus. Some is surface level, but there are others that are deeply committed to this opportunity.
Yeah.
And so we need to really have a holistic conversation. People say holistic, they throw that out there. But when you talk about changing and turnaround communities and lives inside of that community and around that community, I think the model that happened over with Weedy on the west side is like that, is like a playbook that we can really follow. And so they created small businesses and supported the small businesses by helping them understand business and how to conduct it and how to grow, and that they gave them space to do it in, incubator space, but they also redeveloped the communities. So they did the streetscape, they did the housing, and you have that whole thing coming together. Calming traffic circles, bike lanes, green space, greenery, that type of stuff.
Right.
And so a lot of times in our community, we see other things happening, and we say, give us a piece of that without understanding. Well, give us a business incubator.
Right.
And a business incubator alone will not move us forward because we're still in this space that is not conducive or is not representative or is not up to a certain standard that we should be able to live and breathe and enjoy, right?
Exactly.
So we talk about lead and all those other harmful things that are in our community. People talk about the access to food and healthy food and all that stuff. And so it all comes together.
Not to mention not just us, but inviting others into our community, because that's
oh,
like
they're in
key.
there already.
Oh yeah.
But I'm saying
Others are in
well,
there.
I'm talking about people like customers and
like being able to come,
feeling comfortable coming in, and I think that uplifting the community and making it more comfortable space will be more inviting to other people.
Yeah, we reversed that. We invite other communities in to sell to us, to be the producers, and we are the consumers, in our community.
Yeah,
so
and I'm saying the opposite,
we have to flip that. So if you have this development, if you have this infrastructure redevelopment, if you have, and I got a crazy concept that I thought about. And so when I was the Erie County legislator, I sat on the Buffalo Place board. And so what Buffalo Place does is they take care of downtown Buffalo. Right? So their thing was to build up downtown Buffalo so it'd be a destination place. And they started years and years ago. And so business owners and building owners paid into Buffalo Place to take care of the property so that not only the property but the downtown proper was clean and looks good and well maintained, and they had organization and all that stuff. And so when you talked about gentrification, the concept that I thought about is as we redevelop not only Jefferson Avenue but all the streets that connect and around it,
Mm-hmm.
we can figure out a way for a couple things. One, we know a lot of times in black and brown communities that property is passed down without the legal titles and all that stuff. And so
Right.
I think I own this, but when it comes down to it, my great 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 grandfather's name is still on the title,
right.
Yeah.
on the real estate title.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't get to take advantage of grants and those opportunities that are out there for me to redevelop or fix my home. And so we know the one of the biggest costs is home repairs.
Right.
And so you have individuals in the community that can't keep up on their home repairs. Eventually a roof gets a hole in it, electrical work goes awry,
Mm-hmm.
and now you have redevelopment, and then they say, hey, your house is not up to code, up to standard. We're going to fine you, we're going to tax you, and eventually you're out.
Right.
And so if we could develop this way that we can give some incentives or some price breaks or tax
Mhm.
breaks to these individuals that have been in here, and do a couple things. One, get them the ownership, figure out how to get them ownership of the property that they've stayed in and that their relatives have owned forever, but then also give them the ability to fix up their home and then stay in it without increasing that cost for them to actually stay in there. And then they can realize it, the city or county or state can realize it if and when that individual sells the property.
Right.
So it's just thinking those different types of things to really to push it. And I say this because we have the ability to do it. I mean,
Yep.
we have very smart individuals. There
I
has
like
been a
that.
bunch of development that has been going on Jefferson Street. I think
Yeah, the Small Business Association. I know my dad. He was with the cigar shop.
Mhm,
He owns a
mhm,
cigar
right,
shop with
yeah, yeah.
and they really invested.
Yeah,
So
mhm.
kind of doing what you say, they all kind of pitch in and
right,
help fix up and redevelop what's
Right.
already there.
right.
'Cause that's
right,
the thing is, I don't think we need another big structure
Right.
or a big incubator. There's plenty
Right.
of structures and property there. But if we're able to redevelop that, that'd be nice.
But I think those that went to the gala have know that the Urban League is really looking at
Yep.
having a presence on Jefferson,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
right? And so those are the things that are really changing the face.
Well, I'm here.
of Jefferson.
I'm on
I ain't going
Jefferson.
nowhere. I ain't
I'm
going
on
nowhere.
Jefferson.
I
My
ain't
print
going-
shop's on Jefferson.
yeah,
My
yeah.
studio's in Jefferson. I'm
Oh,
here.
yeah.
I purposely, prior, and I think it's important to know, prior to 514, I moved
Mhm.
to Jefferson
Yeah,
Avenue.
intentionally.
Intentionally. Yep. It wasn't to feed off of what happened. It was, because I wanted, I had my print shop.
Access.
Yeah. I had my print shop in Tonawanda. I had my studio out on the west side, and then I had a print shop over on the Cheektowaga, the airport property,
Mhm.
and then I just was like, I want to bring it back home. So
Mhm.
and it just happened to be on Jefferson Avenue where I found the space, and then so now I have the two spaces, this space and next door.
Yeah.
One of the things I wanted to tell you was that I went to Atlanta to the National Black
Yeah, I saw
Chamber
it.
of Commerce.
I saw your
Yeah,
pics.
yeah. It was really dope,
Yeah, I
but
bet, yeah.
Charles DeBow,
Mhm.
who is the chair or the president of the National Black Chamber of Commerce, him and I have been talking, and
Okay.
actually you don't even know this, but something else I'm about to do.
Breaking news alert.
Breaking news.
Breaking
So
news.
I am getting ready to head up the Western New York Black Chamber of Commerce
Enough said.
here. So
Nice.
that's going to be something that's going to
That
be
get- that
super
get-
dope. Yeah. Let's bring it.
Yeah, let's bring that in there. Yeah.
So I'm just doing a little bit more learning before I get it started. So I'm thinking probably by January, the new year, I'll have the Western New York Black Chamber of Commerce. So definitely want to talk to you about that when
Yeah,
it's time
most
to get it
def-
going.
This is a public service announcement, ladies
Yeah.
and gentlemen. No one
Yeah.
really needs to sleep.
Dropping news.
Yeah. I can sleep when I die.
CJ will sleep when he dies. He's just gonna keep going and going and going and going and going.
Exactly.
Right?
Well, you only get an
No.
opportunity.
You only
to
get one shot.
Exactly.
Sometimes.
He was like, can you be the secretary?
Yeah,
I'm like,
not
no.
secretary. Come on, you're a partner. So yeah. So man, I'm sorry.
I
was-
need sleep.
She's.
That's
I bring
all
her
right.
into everything. I'm like,
yeah,
come
but
on,
you-
I
Shannon.
got an
yeah,
You got
idea.
something else.
Yeah, I got an idea. Let's roll.
Yep.
Mhm.
He's
So
like, okay.
I'm starting my radio show December 1st.
I saw that.
So that's gonna be awesome. I definitely want to have you come on the show there.
Yeah,
I think
DJ
that's gonna be
Cash.
exciting. DJ
DJ
Cash. Yeah. It's gonna be exciting. The Friday night warm up. So
Friday night warm up,
yep.
DJ Cash, y'all.
So that's gonna be about anything that's happening for the week,
Yeah.
following. So you come up, talk about what events you have going on for the weekend or that night or whatever while people are getting dressed. I want them to tune in and kind of listen to some good music, but then also hear about what's going on. And some of it is not just parties, it's also like community events and
Right.
what's happening for the weekend and what are some of the things that you don't want to miss out on.
Right.
So
I asked, what are the hours going to be? You had hours?
6 to 8.
6 to 8, okay.
Every Friday, 6 to 8. Actually starting tomorrow. I know this is not a podcast about me, but I might as well.
I mean,
shameless plug. Starting tomorrow, you'll hear the commercial. My drops will be on Power 96.5, or you can check it out on the internet at power965onlineradio.com or 1080 AM. So everywhere we're going to be there. I tried to get Shayna to be on the show with me, but she's like, I need some self-care.
No, that's what's up. That's what's up. Good for you.
No.
Good for you. We're going to clap that up. Clap that up for self-care. Self-care. Give it up. Give it up. Self-care.
My self-care will be...
That's what I told him. I was like, you need to take care of yourself.
I do. But
you're looking good, though, man.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Tim knew me when I was like 500 pounds.
Yeah.
So I wasn't 500 pounds.
Oh, okay.
He was. Like,
he said, yeah. You trying to say fat boy? Oh.
No, he was.
So let's get back to you. Okay.
Part of this podcast, so it's hype. It's helping you proclaim excellence. So we want to provide the community and our listeners with just nuggets, little pieces of just brilliance of how you got to be the person that you are. So I don't want to miss this. So what got you to be so passionate about civil service, just being of service? I could tell that's, with your faith and everything about you that you like to be of service. So kind of tell us a little bit about your journey.
Yeah, I was just born with it.
Yeah, you were like, I'm going to help.
It was just in me. Every as long as I can remember, I just wanted to help.
Yeah.
I mean, period.
So who gave you that compassionate heart? You think it came from God, your family?
God gave it to me. Then watching how hard my mom and dad worked and did for the community. So my dad was he worked construction. He was a laborer for Local 210.
Okay.
And he broke his back at the job. Not really, but he worked real hard.
Yeah.
And after work, he would go do odd jobs to help people out, and he really didn't accept payment, really.
Yeah.
Wow.
And at a young age, I would go with him and help him out and do
That's
stuff.
awesome.
And so just watching that model, that's why I was a horrible contractor business person. Because people would say, hey, you little Joe, right? Could you come help me fix this?
Mm-hmm.
And I fix it. And how much I owe you? I'm good. I don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it was that type of thing. And then, like I said, being connected to a body of believers, it really changed my life, really, as I got older and really seeing what it was about and understanding my faith more and more and leaning on my faith. People ask me, they say, do you ever have a bad day? We always see you smiling.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because I know, I mean, this is all temporary. Material stuff is nice, but it's not the end all be all.
Yeah.
And self-care is important.
See.
Right. And finding everyone's balance is different, right? So
Right.
you throw out balance, but everyone's balance is different, and only you can define what your balance is for you, right? And so I think it's important to know yourself, know your body, know your mind, know your feeling, know how you are. And then number two, I'd say it's important to have someone that you trust and you share that with them. You say, why would I share that with someone, right? Because, and CJ knows my person, Greg Bowles.
Mm-hmm.
And so him and I, he actually really got me out walking the streets and just talking to total strangers. And so we just do that, but we can talk about that later. But I told him, I said, hey, after a while of us being really good friends, I told him what to look for when I wasn't in a good space.
Mm-hmm.
And so he can call me out on that, like, hey, Chomp, let's go do this, go do that. But I had to do that when I was in a good space to be able to say, hey, I'm gonna be vulnerable. If you see this, and this, that means I'm drifting off into a different type of space. And so
I love that.
That accountability and that trusting to be able to do that. But and so being out in the community, seeing what's going on with people and the despair and just the conditions has really got me like excited and motivated to really try and change and try and educate people and really try to motivate people and to provide opportunities whatever way I can. Greg and I, we call ourselves broke philanthropists. Like we have no money, but we give stuff away and we just try to do stuff.
Yeah, so you go out on the streets, do you like evangelize, or is it more just
conversation,
to know people?
Right? So when I was doing more church, we would go out and do that stuff, but I find it more effective just being yourself and just having conversation and showing compassion and really just caring about people, seeing that you're a person, I'm a person, right?
Yeah.
And your life matters just as much as mine, right? And being willing to understand that and being willing to help out whenever you can.
I love that.
I don't care what your situation is. You're still flesh and blood.
Yeah, you're God's child, right?
Yeah.
That's your identity.
You know, one of the things that I was thinking about when you were talking about balance, right? And I don't hear a lot of people talking about it, but so balance means that you're kind of equal on both sides, right? Or somewhere close, right? So you're balancing both sides. A lot of people think that, balance might be, spending a lot of time, more time with your family and less time at work, or less time at work with. But as your family grows, and people ask me, like, how do you have balance? I'm like, listen, I do have balance. I have a lot going on. I got 8 kids. I got, a wife. So I got, a huge household. So that's already up here. So for me to bring that down, I have to work, right? And then I see myself in the middle, kind of trying to figure out how to stay in the middle of that space for myself. So my self-care is somewhere in the middle there, if you look at it on like a seesaw. But it's important, I believe. I do believe balance is important. I believe it's important for your health, your mental health, as well as the health of your family, the health, your job, right? Is to have that balance so that you're not doing more of one thing or too much of one thing and then leaving the other, kind of low. I believe that, my faith in God is also provides a lot of balance for me. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of something I can actually use on both sides to make sure that I balance, balance well, better. But I do need to, I do have a lot going on. Yeah. And I was trying to get Shayna to have a lot going on too, because I'm like, misery loves company. And I'm like, come on, Shayna. She's like, nope, I'm not doing the radio show.
I prayed on it.
Hey, Shayna. Yeah. Hey, Shayna. Come on.
But I look at it as, I do say a lot that I can sleep when I die. And I don't mean that literally. I just mean that it's work time.
Right. And that's what I was going to say. When you think about balance, and the Bible talks about seasons.
Yeah.
And there's a season for everything.
Right.
And so when you are doing 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different projects, that's the season for you to be able to get that done because things are aligning.
Right.
And so that's not always going to be the case. So you have to take advantage of the space that's provided and take advantage of the flow. I'm always about the flow, right? How do I get in that flow? And then, right? And so that might be 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years that you are doing that.
Right.
But before that and on the other side of it,
when you hit that sweet spot,
what do you do, right?
Right. Yeah.
And so don't get me wrong. Yes, I'm about balance, but I'm not going to say about the grind, but I'm about moving and advancing things forward and doing whatever it has to take for whatever period of season or time that we're in.
Yeah. And I kind of always have a challenge with, I don't know, from very young, I remember, I don't remember which church I was at, and they were talking about using talent, not using the talent that God's given you, right? And I think that I've gotten to a point in my life where the talent that I have needs to be used to better the community. Yeah. There was at one point in my life when it was like, I need to use it to better me.
Ching.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then it came to a point, another thing, I'm like a book of cliches, and the other thing that I say is, I don't chase money anymore.
Right.
I used to chase money. I used to be paper chaser,
Yeah,
money chaser. Everybody's like, yo, what you doing? Oh man, trying to chase
Chase
that money,
that money,
trying
man,
to chase
to
it,
get
but
that money, yo.
You know, the reality is that, you know, if you're chasing money, that means it's running away from you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So now I don't chase money anymore. I just do I do what I believe is in my heart and what God is put me on this earth to do. And, you know, I believe that since I started thinking that way, you know,
haven't had to worry about money.
I haven't had to worry. I mean, Tim asked me in the beginning when I first moved to Buffalo. Yeah, I was broke.
Yeah, he was like, yo,
I was broke.
He was broke.
I didn't know what. I didn't know what I was gonna do. I didn't know how I was gonna pay my next bill. You know what I mean?
CJ
That's when the hustle comes in.
CJ was a broke procrastinator.
Yeah, I was.
Really?
Yeah,
I can see the procrastination.
What?
I can see that.
That's why.
Like,
That's why.
Now it's not procrastinating. It's just overwhelmed. It's like
that's why
I'm balancing. Now I'm a procrastinator. Before I was, you got to balance. I got.
Now it's like, Shayna, did you do this? Can you do this?
Yeah.
My thing is, my cliche is, you can't take care of others if you don't take care of yourself. And I just have to make sure that
you gotta put the mask on.
Yeah.
That
I'm just
I take care
dependent on God. You know what I mean?
But
you find that strength, but like you said, you're in different seasons.
I got a cliche to top that.
Oh, go ahead.
If I put all my energy to take care of my family and my wife, and then they do a return, then I think we're still good. So like my family takes care of me, my wife takes care of me, so I give her, you know, all the credit in the world, because if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be able to do the things that I'm doing.
Clap that up.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
shout out to Tammy.
Yeah, shout out to Tammy. So, so I believe that sometimes, you know, the whole airplane thing. I say it. I say it like you got to put the mask on, whatever. But if you have somebody that you truly trust to put the mask on you, and you put the mask on them, it's still one. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. That's just my thing. I think that like I can put that trust and know that my family's got me. And there's only a limited amount of time for me. I feel like there's only a limited amount of time. I'd like to live till I'm 150, or maybe I wouldn't like to live when I'm 150. Right. But
you reached your peak. I was going to tell you that.
Yo,
my peak.
Yo, listen.
Rude to that. No, hold on.
No, I don't know what era you came up in, but when I was watching CJ talk, it reminded me of the Cosby Show when Theo was talking and said, "If you weren't a doctor, I wouldn't love you anymore. If I wasn't a lawyer, I would." Man, that's a bunch of crap.
No,
you got it. No, you got it. And so I get what you're saying in theory, but you are the only one that really knows you. Yeah. Think about this. Mm-hmm. Out of everyone in the world that you've ever known, you are the only one that has been with you 100% of the time.
Right. True.
That's
good
true.
point.
Right?
Now I'm gonna have to take that one.
So right. So I could say, man, I love you so much, but when it comes down to it, people have self-preservation just built in. Right. And they mean good. Right. So if I passed away when I leave here, you would feel it. Right. Right. But it would be different for me because I'd be gone. Right. Right. You would move on. Right. Right. And so I see that the older we get. So I appreciate people, but you do have to be a little bit selfish and put that mask on and take care of yourself. Yeah. And so that will enable that reciprocal to happen in that family dynamic. So everybody needs to take care of themselves.
I'll put the mask on, but it's going to be give me another couple of years and then I'll wear the mask. I want to put the mask on when I can enjoy it. No. When I can enjoy the air.
So you are putting the mask on. Right. Because passion is meeting time and creates that flow. And that flow is what makes you grow, what energizes you, what makes you wake up every morning, what excites you, right? And the change and driving forward in the community. So your mask is on. So just because you're on the go, don't think your mask isn't on. Right. Your mask wouldn't be on as if you were sitting in a corporate office being an accountant.
Right. And it wasn't what I wanted to do.
You're paying, right? Yeah. You have the money to take care of the family, all that stuff, but you have not matched up, right? So there's friction and there's a disconnect, and so that's when I look at the mask not being on. Like I said, there's seasons of just going to get it, right? But then you realize that there's respites. Yeah, there's periods where you, all right, boom.
Let me ask you a question. Okay, so let's get back to you, because
me.
Yeah, not want to talk about me.
Whose world is this?
Mine, but
Tim,
today
It's
is
mine. It's mine. It's mine. It's mine.
You was
Whose
about to
world
sing?
is
Let
this?
Shannon sing.
No,
Go ahead, sing.
I did.
She
No,
did.
you said Tim.
See, that was the drop.
That was- So
DJ Cash.
Yes, in the building. So
Friday warm up.
how did you? So let's get back. I want to get back to kind of your journey, right?
Yeah.
How did you get into
Somebody tricked me.
politics?
Somebody tricked me.
Somebody tricked you.
Somebody tricked me. So good.
What was your first step in politics?
Good friend of mine, Ted Brinson. I'm calling him out. Yeah, Ted. We talked about this before.
Okay.
Someone that went to my church, he asked me one day, he was like, hey, you want to come help me do some community work? I'm like, yeah, let's go.
Mm-hmm.
And it ended up being volunteering for the county executive, current county executive, Mark Polencarz. He was the comptroller at the time. He was running for county executive for the first term.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were out handing out flyers and knocking and doing the festivals and just talking and stuff. And it was cool.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm talking to people at the doors. And I'm like, hey, we need you to go out and vote, register to vote. And people are saying, you know, so we were in the Perry Projects and some other housing complexes. And the people were like, I'm not voting. Why would I waste my time? And so I'm there trying to convince them that it's important to participate, and they can really make change, because people say that all politics are local, and I get it now, because you have to organize and create a voice at the local level. Absolutely. To get the individuals to be able to create a bigger voice, so that your representatives, and whether on the county level, state level, or federal level, know what's important to you, and we create an agenda. And that starts by participating, because if they know a certain region or area doesn't vote, human nature says I'm less likely to listen to your concerns and complaints, because you do nothing to keep me in or put me out of office. And so we were doing that, and then the group we were with, they said, hey, you should run for county legislator. And I was like, no, I'm good. So I was in corporate America. I was operations manager, enjoying life, growing this.
Where operations manager?
So I had just left Delphi, a subsidiary of General Motors, and I was over at PCB Piezotronics. They had just gone through a downturn in the 2008-2009 economy. That was the great
the
crash
housing bubble,
all that stuff. Yeah. And so a buddy of mine, Jay McQuillan, was over there, and he asked me to come over and help him out. And so we put this plan together. We rocked it. We turned it around. And so we're rolling. We're growing. The company is growing. We're hiring people. And then this opportunity comes along, and I'm like, no, I'm good. I really don't know anything about politics, and I just don't want to do it. And so they kept asking and asking. I kept saying no. And then they sent this like 70-something-year-old woman, Mildred Bishop. I remember her name. And she, at one meeting, she grabbed me by my shirt and tugged me a little bit and said, young man. I said, yes, ma'am. She said, I need your resume. I said, I started stuttering. For what, Miss Mildred? She said, because you're going to run. And I was like, and so I said, yes, ma'am. And the rest is like history.
That's awesome.
Were you let me ask something. Your childhood. Yeah. Were you a good kid or a bad kid, or did you have?
I was a great kid.
You was a great kid?
I was the best kid.
Okay.
So, natural. My mom and pop, they had my older brother who's 7 years older than I am, and then myself. And so my mother would joke with me later in life and said, your older brother, we experimented on him. Because that was our first job. We didn't know what to do. And then we got it right with you. I said, you doggone right, you got it right with me. But no, I was a very good.
Really good in school?
Teenager too?
Oh yeah, I was, yeah. And my mother told me one day, she said, she's like, come here. I just got home from school. And she said, I heard there were a bunch of kids on your bus, and this is the Metro, that were swearing and acting up and cussing. And I was like, well, that wasn't, she said, hold on. And she said, I know you weren't one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Because one of my friends was on the bus. And she called me and told me all this, right? And so back in the day, right, I'm going to hit you with the old back in my day,
mm-hmm.
right, it was a different type of parenting.
Mm.
It was really that village and the community, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so when people joke about, if I acted up on the street, I got a whooping here and
mm-hmm.
here, and then that's real deal Holyfield, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I always had eyes watching me, but I just the other stuff really never attracted me. I just love school. I mean, I love school, and I think I owe that to my dad. He only had a high school degree, but he was one of the smartest individuals I knew. He read constantly. I mean, just everything, medical books. I mean, I was like, wow, there's nothing this guy couldn't take apart, put back together, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so he would call me Einstein. Mm-hmm. He was like, how was school today, Einstein? I was like, here you go, another 100, man. Here you go. And so we celebrated that.
Right.
So,
yeah.
I was a pretty good kid.
So
now, if you get my mom in here, I don't know, she might say. She might say.
She got some stories.
So unfortunately, I don't read as much as I should.
Mm-hmm.
And I've learned that, and I've been picking up books more and more, just to, and different kind of books, because I love the factual, like, gaining knowledge type of management type books.
Okay.
But just reading other type of world event type books and live stories and that type of stuff is starting to capture my mind.
Yeah, I'm a Ziegleritarian, so like I follow Zig Ziglar to the key.
Zig Ziglar.
And one of the things that he talks about is twofers, right?
Mm-hmm.
So find as many opportunities to find twofers in your life, things that you can get a 2-for-1. So I don't have a lot of time to read books. I was talking to my oldest son Christopher, and I was like, what? I don't remember the last time I read a book, right? But I listen to so many books,
right?
So when I'm in the car, usually just because I'm trying to hear my spot on 96.5, Power 96.5.
Power 96.5.
So just waiting for my commercial to come on. So that's one. But normally in my car, it's Audible, and I'm listening to books. I send them to friends. Like, listen. So essentially that's reading. A book, but it's listening.
I'm gonna challenge you because I think the older we get, and I believe studies have shown, right, really exercising our minds, and reading is one of those things that is very important and a very good exercise as they look at Alzheimer's patients and dementia patients and that type of stuff, and they look at see who was an avid reader, who wasn't. So,
right. I think there's a lot to that, though.
Yes, podcasts are good.
I think that, but not just podcasts. But I'm saying, like, there's a lot to it. Like, I do a lot of reading. It's just not sitting down reading a book. I do a lot of learning.
Okay.
It's with music and all. I think that it's more about not so much reading a book, but using your mind, right? Using different parts of your mind to think creatively.
You're gonna read a book.
I'm not gonna
read a book, man. That's your challenge.
Take a look in a book.
Take a look in the book. Read a book.
Make a beat.
Read.
I want you to make a song.
I can make a
He's
song.
making beats. He did it with the.
No, you gotta make it. So
I'll make a song.
I think that part of it is, and so anyway,
1, 2.
I could read a sheet a day. How about that? I'll read a page a day.
Hey, I'm good. I'm good
In the
with
morning,
that.
do like a little.
I am not excited about reading a book.
That's okay.
Really not.
I'm not excited about creating this song I'm about to create.
Listen, when I was in school, so I'm the total opposite of you. My school,
I love school,
I was terrible in school. I was smart, but school didn't. I wasn't engaged in school. I think I said in my last podcast.
Yeah, that just wasn't your learning style.
Yeah, it just wasn't my learning style. So I remember like when we had to read like Black Like Me or To Kill a Mockingbird. I watched the movie. Literally, that's what I did. I did enough to get by. Yeah. But I think that it's just not for everybody. So
let me ask you guys this. On the Tim Hougues podcast.
Yeah, this is not your podcast. You asking a question. No, go ahead.
Can I ask a question?
Go ahead.
See the hype?
This is the first time we had somebody asking us questions, right?
So.
No, Steve Bell asked us what our favorite book was.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So, talk to me about the the mismatch that you realize now that was in the education system for you, and looking at today that we probably still have a mismatch. And what do you mean by mismatch? Right?
I know exactly.
So okay, so you both got it. So
tell the audience what you mean
so
by
when
mismatch.
when I talk about mismatch, right? And so individuals have different learning styles, levels, abilities, interests. And so I think it's the job of the system and the educators to really look and match, put that round peg in the round hole to make sure that the individual is successful, and that is by utilizing all opportunities or tools that are available and being creative. And so with that as the foundation, I mean, how do you think, so you have a lived experience. What do you think back then would have made learning, right, quote unquote learning, more exciting for you?
So, I think education from your primary education in high school it has been the most traditional form of some type of societal structure there is, right? Things haven't changed in so many years that forever ever. So
shout out to Keith.
I've seen. So this is what I would tell you. When I was in school, I knew that I needed something else. I knew that it wasn't working for me. I knew, like, every teachers conference that my parents went to, they said, your son is so smart, but he doesn't apply himself. Why? Because I went to school and I wasn't engaged. Like, I didn't want to sit there and listen to this person teach at me. A lot of the stuff that they were teaching, I didn't agree with, and it wasn't, there wasn't room for me to grow in what they were teaching. It was just what they wanted me to know, right? And I wasn't a great test taker. Like, I knew the work, but I just was not good sitting down taking a test. I would literally fall asleep taking a test, and like the state test, I fell asleep and then woke up like right before the end of the and did
filled in the bubble.
Did the exactly. So I think that, but now watching my kids go through the school, I do see a little bit of a difference, right? Okay. But there's still a challenge. Like, I'm a foster parent, and I have some of my foster children that I've seen go through school and seen the challenges that they have, because there is a correlation between trauma and ADHD and all of those different things, right? So when you see these individuals go through the school and they're not getting what they need, but then the teachers are more concerned about the efficiency of the classroom rather than the efficiency of learning, right? They want the classroom to be efficient. They don't want to deal with a problem child. So they'd rather kick that problem child out or send them home for a day or send them to the principal's office instead of having to deal with that child, right? I think that...
So can we pause there? And I do want some your thoughts, but so when we talk about, right, because it's easy for us to focus on an educator, and we can see the surface issues. Right? We have a child that they deem whatever difficult, we'll say, or challenge, right? And so my question is, in this current system, and this goes to the co-host, do you believe we are providing the educators, the in-class educators, enough support and tools? Right?
I mean, I believe that the school system was meant to breed workers, right? So they want obedience. They want to make sure you can follow authority. And I feel like you said, we both mentioned that it just hasn't changed over time. So I think now, especially with the amount of information that we all have as kids, with just tablets at our hand and teachers, we know more now. So in order to be so compliant, it's difficult. It's difficult for the educators, it's difficult for the kids, and us as parents. We also have to evolve and change too, because we also have to know that what they learn in school is just what they're learning in school. What we're doing at home is essential, right? So I mean, the educators absolutely not. They don't have the tools because they have to teach to a standardized test,
Right.
and not every kid is standardized.
Right.
My kids, they go to a regular private school. That was a decision I made because I wanted a smaller class size.
So we'll tell you, there's nothing regular about a private school. I thought you were going to say they go to a regular public school.
Regular
right?
private school.
Regular private school.
I know. I mean, it's not like a.
It's all good.
I
It's
did.
all good.
I chose to invest in their
Yeah,
education
no,
that way
good.
because I wanted them to have a smaller class size. Because I wanted them to be that 25, that 20 class
much.
size. I was like,
Right.
they're not going to get the attention that they need. So that's
You know,
what I chose.
and so one
Yeah, go
answer, I believe the answer to your question is no. I don't think that teachers have the tools necessary to be successful in the classroom in most public schools, right? I think private and charter schools maybe,
Sometimes,
but not public schools. However, I also believe that the teachers that are in the system now need a change of thought too. They need to think differently than what traditionally school has been, because there's so many opportunities for them to make use of what they do have, because you can't just sit back and fold your arms and say, oh, I just don't have enough help, right? And then now they're using teachers' aides to teach classrooms and putting teachers' aides in classrooms when, I feel like there has been, and it's funny because I never really like to say I feel like, but there really has been this growing or this, actually I would say this lack of passion to teach and more of a passion to rule a classroom.
So
from the teachers that I've seen, and I'm not saying that for everybody, that they want to just have it in control. And there are some, and trust me, there's no totalness in anything, right? But I've seen that there's a growing need to just have a control in the classroom than to say, okay, how do we make this work? How do we make this more fun? How do we make this fun so that we can, even the kids that are having challenges can be more engaged with everyone. So they'd rather say, okay, and with the doing away of special ed classrooms, and now there's more inclusiveness and all of that, which is great, but they also have to understand that means that there are going to be more challenges, and even if that means that the principal has to be part of this change, right? Everybody has to be part of this change, not just the students and not just one or two teachers. It has to be a culture change in the school.
Well, that's why I think that's why I'm saying it's lacking that community feel, because the parents and the family members, the caregivers, they have to be involved. Because even with private school,
here's what I'm saying:
the teachers don't get paid a lot of money.
But
it's just a difference.
It's not about
community.
pay. It's not about pay, and I know that. Let me tell you something. Most kids, on an average, spend more time in school than they do with their parents. If you think about it, kids go to school from 6 o'clock in the morning, or they get at 7 o'clock in the morning. They get home at 3 o'clock. They're doing their homework. They're not spending time because they got to do their homework. They may eat dinner with their family for like 2 hours or hour or whatever. Then they're getting ready to go to bed, and they're in bed. So at home, they're probably like 3 or 4 hours a day during the week, during the school year, right? So that whole adage that it's more the parents. It really isn't. It's more like it's the time that you spend. So it really has to do with not just, it's the friends, it's the family, it's the society, it's church, it's everything has to come together. But we can't let the schools say, okay, this is the parents' responsibility, because the parents are struggling, working to try to support the kids. Like, I'm talking about myself including. I can't be home to say, okay, I got to teach you this, I got to teach you this. And that's just the education part, right? The learning, the actual learning. That is the school's responsibility. It's our job to support that, but the school gets paid to teach my kids how to do math.
So COVID taught that, right? COVID taught that.
Exactly.
That parents really suck.
Parents ain't good teachers. Exactly.
And so if we take this back to Black Wall Street concept and the redevelopment of East Side, of Buffalo East Side, education is a piece, and that's why I say it can't be done siloed approach. It has to be done right?
Community.
A whole holistic type approach to that. And I guess I would challenge you to have some educators on and have some of those types of conversations about that. But it's a system thing, right? And so it's difficult for an individual to be told, hey, this is how I'm going to measure you, and this is how you get paid, and this is how you keep your job.
Right.
And it doesn't align fully with the education of our children.
Right.
And so you're caught in a catch-22, right? You like, do I do this?
And
let me do that?
Let me just add to that real quick is that if and I get passionate about this because I've heard teachers say this often, that, you know, if they're not getting the right training or the right thing at, you know, at home, then there's nothing that we can do for them, or those are the problem children, whatever. But the reality is that schools are there to give each kid an equitable chance, a fair chance, right? And we're not just saying equal, equitable. That means that if they have less support at home.
So are you saying that, or is that?
That's what it should be.
Okay, because you got to be careful. Right? We have to be careful as we we have to do some research, because I don't know if that is written in the mandate for New York State public schools.
Well, we do know that
we know it should be.
We know that school is there to give every child an opportunity to succeed in life. That's the purpose.
I don't know.
Or maybe it's not.
Because your wonderful, marvelous co-host of said that
he's giving you so much credit. Like this is
but do you remember
to erase this podcast? No, I'm just joking.
Wiki.
I can edit all of that out.
But do you remember? do you remember what she said about the classroom and education? Right, and so she said it's not necessarily to do that. It's feeding into the possible job market, right? So it by that definition is not really talking about success.
But even if it's feeding into the job market, it's still based on. I mean, every
no.
Okay.
She's more, and I'll let her say it. But it's creating obedient little robots,
right?
And do you think that the school is an equitable place for the teachers as well? Like when they have to buy their own school supplies, or they have to stay late because.
Hit them.
Yeah.
Let the rhythm
I think
hit them.
So let me tell you something. Like any job.
Wait. Yes. What?
Yes, I think that teachers have an equitable approach. When you talk about
approach, she says support.
Support. They have equitable support in not equal. Again, like they. By the way, they should.
Let's not.
I'm not talking about they have. So just like I'm saying that,
you gotta be clear, because they'll be outside your door,
right.
hey, CJ.
No. Just like I'm saying that. Just like I'm saying that schools should. This is all basically what I'm saying is my thoughts towards what schools should be like, right? Because this was the question you asked,
make that
right?
disclaimer,
And I'm not saying this is what they are, right? So I believe that teachers should have an equitable approach. That means if they're dealing with more, and again, I'm using the word equitable because I believe that the more support that classroom needs, the more support they need to get. The more support the student needs, the more support that the student should get, right? To get them to a level, you know, to the same stage. So what I'm saying is that we need to do in the schools, as far as change, you know, is to start looking at it in that way. They talk about it all the time with public schools and charter schools and private schools, or mostly with public schools, where it's located depends on who gets the best teachers and how dedicated and how passionate the teachers are, right? That means that they're not getting the support. The schools are not getting the support. The money's not the same. You know, so my thought process is let's change that thought process. When we start to look at, we want to make every child successful. So when you talked about parents, there's no way we can change what's going on in a household.
I mean, there is. There is.
We could change our household, but you're not gonna. I mean, how are you gonna change a parent that's absent or a parent?
When we talk about Black Wall Street, right? And so when we talk about the village and creating the environment,
Mm-hmm.
right, at all phases,
Mm-hmm.
then it's more likely that that home
Mm-hmm.
will have the support and stuff it needs.
Right.
And so why our parents?
I'm talking
And
about
I'm
currently. I'm not
and
talking about.
I'm sorry that I hijacked this
No, that's
podcast.
good.
We're
No,
talking a
this
whole
is
different.
conversation.
It will be back to regular station programming in just 2 seconds. I just have one or two more questions. Thank you. And so why, for the example, why do you believe that parents are absent or whatever? And I don't
There's
want to
so
put
many
it in,
reasons why, but I mean,
and so that is why I'm talking about the concept.
Mm-hmm.
So you're saying
so
removing those barriers.
Remove it. And
Yeah.
so we're talking about employment opportunities,
Mm-hmm.
livable wages,
Mm-hmm.
safe community,
Mm-hmm.
green space, no lead, no all these other things that are impacting. And then I think you see a different picture that is,
I agree.
right, because when you talk about equal and equitable,
Mm-hmm.
when you talk about west versus south and north or suburbs, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I have a friend, I won't name him, right? Long life friend that we grew up in the hood,
Mm-hmm.
the neighborhood,
Mm-hmm.
and when we would go places, like in the neighborhood, he would throw his trash out the window.
Mm-hmm.
So if he's eating a candy bar, he throws trash. When we're in the suburbs, he finishes that same candy bar and he stuffs the wrapper in his pocket.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Why? Because of what the environment looks like,
Right.
and what we've been taught to think and do,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so when you talk about changing that,
Mm-hmm.
that changes the mentality and the behaviors, because you have a whole different expectation.
Right.
And so think about it. When you wake up and it's raining and it's dreary,
Mm-hmm.
it's a little bit more challenging. It's like, okay, I'll sleep. But when you wake up, it's sunshine and bright. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
let's get this stuff. Yeah, let's go out. Let's
get
go
it
out in the
started.
environment. And when you walk outside and you see sidewalks that are intact, you see trees blooming, you see bicycle lanes, you see people out walking, you see homes that look repaired and nice.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, yeah.
Yeah.
You walk out in the neighborhood where the sidewalks are cracked, trees are broken and trash all over. You have a whole different.
Yeah.
You carry yourself
Right.
differently,
Yeah.
right?
I think that you're exactly right. What I was referring to is now when I said that you can't change what's in the household.
Right.
I'm talking about like currently right now we don't have that system in place.
Right.
But we still have the responsibility to make sure these kids get an education.
Yeah,
So if the teacher has the opportunity to cop out, and I'm not saying anything bad about all teachers, because I believe there are more teachers that
We're
are more
not saying
passionate.
anything bad about any of the teachers.
Right.
This is just a public service announcement.
I say that there are more passionate teachers than there are not passionate teachers. There are more teachers that care about but the ones that I hear that talk about, oh well, the parents are not doing their job, blah blah blah, and it's like, yo, no matter what goes on at home, you still should have the responsibility or the passion to make sure that child succeeds. It's going to be harder. And I think you should get paid more because you're dealing with the harder, you should get, you know what I mean? You're dealing with the harder, but you don't have the ability to say, well, that's the parents didn't do their job.
And they
You know
don't.
what I'm saying?
And a lot of times they are not properly equipped.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's what it is the bare necessities aren't met. So
You making
For
me
the
think,
teachers?
You thinking me think of the
for the parent, for the
the
kids.
commercial.
The teachers.
For the
cartoon,
teachers.
The bare
Bare
necessities.
necessities.
Yeah. And so here it is,
Yeah.
right? And so, full transparency, my wife is an educator. She was a teacher for quite some time, and now she's assistant principal at Hillary Park School.
Okay.
And so, when we talk about educators in the classroom, similar to when we talk about law enforcement and how they are prepared or ill prepared, and you think about, and we'll stick with the black and brown community, when a student has that environment that we talked about, that is bleak, dreary, may have seen someone get shot and killed, may have had their house broken into, may be on public assistance, may not have eaten, may have been beaten, may have been abused, and that individual presents themselves to school. And so you got that whole closet or backlog of stuff that this person, this human being, is bringing to class with them. And then you say they're looking for the obedience in the classroom, like do this, and this. And we haven't even unpacked a piece of the trauma of all the stuff that is going on.
Right.
Right. And so
the behavior is a symptom.
Right.
It's not actually
right. It's like
the problem.
I'm doing this because, and so I don't want to hog it up, but I will ask for a one sentence answer.
Okay.
And so ideally, what is the purpose of K through 12?
K through 12.
Yeah.
To prepare students. Actually, K through 12 is really, I believe.
No. So ideally, what if you were to say this is what it should be? What is that?
One sentence.
And I'll give my answer.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
And so I think the whole sole purpose of that is to be able to create problem solvers and critical thinkers.
I was gonna say to. No, I forgot. No, I was gonna say to developmentally create individuals for society. No.
No, I mean it's no wrong answer. It's just
I know. I'm just
and the reason why
I
I say problem solvers and critical thinkers, right, is because life is full of opportunities.
Oh yeah, and that's the thing is the problem solving for sure.
And then we think critically, right, and we sort of get outside the box and we think critically. And we push the envelope, and that's how change happens. And so, I don't want to teach little Timmy to just know 1 + 1. But I want to teach Timmy to, and I know parents hate it, but to be able to ask why.
So do you think, with you saying that now, do you think that the education system is there?
No,
that way?
Of course not. No, it's not, right? And so that's why I believe it needs.
I don't know. I don't know if I agree. Like I don't. Okay. I think that the critical thinking. That's their sole purpose is to create critical thinking. I think that actually. It may be a byproduct of it. 9 through 12, I think, is where that space starts to happen, right? I think that pre-K through 8 is really just laying a foundation of foundational knowledge, right?
Those are the developmental years.
Yeah, to really problem
solving. Well, not problem solving, but knowing facts, like knowing that this is what,
whose facts?
Like 1 + 1 = 2, and
whose facts?
Whether it means 1 + 1 = 3 or whatever.
No. But
I don't care.
No.
All I'm saying is that the what we in society has, and I'm talking about the math, history, science,
Right, I got you.
Yeah. The core subjects is really just those basic facts that we know, and I know what you're saying, like whose facts or whatever. But the reality is that we do have societal facts, things that we've all learned and have to believe in order to function, like
until they're disproved.
Right, and then proved again,
right.
Like the planets, right? So,
right.
The fact is that I think K through 8 or pre-K through 8 is about that. Also, them learning societal, like togetherness norms. And social norms and things like that. Once you start to get into high school and then even beyond high school is when it starts to think about. I think that's when they start to learn how to learn and how to teach themselves how to think creatively, or and
I think that's where we're behind.
But I think to Tim's point, like problem solving is critical. Like if a young child has a broken pencil, and he's
but that's part of the societal norm.
No. So I'm not talking about societal norm. I'm saying that is if we start early on, right, it would be the norm instead of the exception when we see young children that are able to problem solve and critical think. They are faced with problems at a different scale every day, right? And so I took CJ's pencil.
Mm-hmm.
That's a problem.
I don't think that that's the schools. So that's the part that I think that everything, other structures in their life, like
once again,
family, friends. That's when they start to learn those.
Once again, this is not CJ's definition. This was just Tim's.
Right.
Yeah. And so I said that I believe that they should be set to do those two things. Really focus on those two things, and so the outside supports can definitely.
So on Tim's Board of Education, Tim's public school,
right,
charter,
academy.
Academy. Where does math and science, those
it's in there. But I said, what is the sole purpose?
Mm-hmm. So you think that secondary is actual learning is secondary as far as...
So you're learning, right? You're learning to think critically and solve problems.
Mm-hmm.
So I have two questions that lead into that. So you being in workforce and, having knowledge of education and, how do you think this generation coming up is going to filter into workforce? Do you think they're ready? Do you think they're behind than previous generations?
So I think that this generation coming up will dictate how the workforce will, how it will look. Right. And so we saw during COVID, the institutions, including government, having to figure out working from home, right? Because we couldn't be together. And so that's something that government never really did. Right? We weren't set up to do, but we figured it out. And now that we're hopefully, getting past COVID and all that stuff, you have both private and government still looking at how do we make this work. And you have a workforce that is expecting that balance of work. And so if you have a group that says we're not going to enter into unless we have X, Y, and Z, then where do you pull from? Unless you sort of start to adjust and say, okay, I need you, right? Because a lot of individuals are saying, I don't necessarily need you, right? Unless we can come together on some blended terms. And so when we used to look at the Googles and the Apples, we're like, wow, that's cool to be able to work there. I mean, once again, that's setting a standard and becoming the norm, right? And they have that flexibility, and they say, hey, you really need to treat me and respect me and look at me as an individual, not just a number that is coming to punch this widget and perform this task for you. And so I believe across the world, industry really has to make that adjustment. There's periods when throughout history where we've made adjustments, and so I believe we're in that adjustment period. And so looking at it as New York State, and my responsibility to really bring individuals in, we're doing a few different things, right? So one of the things we got approved for is to do a marketing campaign to
whoa. Hold up. Before you get into that, because that's going to be the last segment of our show is your current job.
All right.
So I don't want you to bring it back. I don't want you to. We have to do one thing before because we just had a long conversation and we want to break up the monotony.
All right, break it up, break down.
And breathe a little bit.
Phone a friend.
It is now time for our Phone a Friend game show. And I have not even come up. We got to come up with a
question.
Yeah, I haven't come up with a question. You want to ask a question this time?
Wait, who's phoning a friend?
You.
Oh, you want me to phone a friend?
Do you have a phone on you?
Do you have a friend?
I came into a studio. You're not supposed to have a phone in the studio.
You got a phone on you. So listen. So everybody.
I got two phones.
2 phones.
I got 2 phones.
Okay. So here's the deal.
Okay.
We ask you a question. Okay. You cannot answer the question.
Okay.
But
Okay.
You have to call someone.
Oh, call someone.
And you tell them that you're
Can
on
I
the
call
podcast.
Tyrone?
You have to call whoever you want. You got to tell us who you call.
Tyrone.
You got to introduce. Say, hey, are you listening?
Yes.
All right.
Yes,
You
yes.
have
I
to
can do more than one
listen
thing
to. You're on the Hype podcast, and you got to ask them the question, and they have to answer. If you get it, if that person gets it right, you win $1 million.
Bling, 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 bling.
If they get it wrong, you got to pay
Bling,
us $1 million.
bling,
So it's got to be on
bling,
speaker.
bling,
Yeah, it's got to be on
bling.
speaker. Okay.
Okay. All right. Let's roll.
All right.
Let's
So
roll.
here is. All right. I need
What if
2
I don't have no
seconds.
friends?
Hey, you got to have
All right.
some.
All right.
All right, you got friends, man.
Okay.
Come on.
Oh,
All
I
right.
got a question.
I
Okay,
got
question.
friends in
What was
places.
the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air's aunt's name? So Phil's wife.
If.
You can't answer it. Now we got to ask another question.
No, the friend didn't hear it.
Yeah, but you can't answer. You're not allowed to say anything.
You didn't.
Because you're speaking it into existence.
You
And
didn't. You didn't tell me.
Yeah, and you could have it right now on speakerphone.
It's
And-
not.
All right, do you want to keep that question? And you want to keep that question? Or Okay, let's keep that question. We're going to keep that question.
No.
But don't say it out
throw it
loud.
out. I already.
Okay.
I'm a big believer in the universe and putting that out there.
Who was the artist that has an... Oh, no, that's stupid.
That's stupid. Okay, I got it. Name 3 of the members of the Beatles.
Do you even know that one?
No.
I know. So
I'll look it up.
no. You gotta have something you know, man.
Paul McCartney.
You putting it out in the universe.
Okay. All right. I got it better. All right. Name 3 artists that was signed to Bad Boy Records.
That's a good one.
Name 3
Artists that was signed to Bad Boy Records.
And you want me to phone
More
a friend?
money, more problems.
All right. You ready?
Yep.
All right. Let's
You
see.
ready?
Are you calling me? Come on.
You are?
Yeah.
No,
Oh
you
my
can't.
What?
No.
What?
You can't call me.
You didn't say that. Yeah.
He's the only one. That,
Yo, pay me my money.
I'm gonna answer wrong.
He just rigged the game.
You already know.
No.
Wait, we ain't friends?
No, we're friends.
Okay, you said-
someone not on the show.
No, dude.
No.
Yo,
You gotta honor that. That was perfect.
No,
That
I didn't answer. No.
I want you.
What's the rule?
We can hear you.
The rule is
You
that
answer.
if they don't
CJ.
answer,
CJ,
then you
what?
gotta call somebody else.
CJ, what?
What's
Yeah.
3?
Yeah.
No, that is not
Yo,
fair.
yo.
I'm
Well, you-
protesting.
See,
You
that,
gotta
listen.
the
Hold on.
whole point of it
That
was
is
to get-
critical thinking and problem solving. You
we're
see
done
how that,
with that
You see
conversation.
how that worked?
Yeah, but
You see how that worked?
That
I
was
didn't
so good.
answer,
You
so
see
you
how
gotta
that
call
worked?
somebody that will answer.
Oh,
This guy.
boy.
It would take Tim Hougues to
Yeah.
That
throw a
was
wrench
amazing. He
in our
just
game.
rigged our game.
Yeah.
I should have just ignored the call.
Yeah.
You were like, "Are you calling me?"
No, I was like, my phone is ringing at the same time. All right. Huh?
See, told you, Hoagie.
Who's that?
No, I told. So I'm on this podcast, and I told him when I called you was gonna be like Hoagie. And so you live on the podcast. It's my man CJ Banks.
How you doing?
Hey, what's going on, y'all?
All right.
And
What's his name?
This is my guy Wilson, Steve Wilson. He's
Okay.
a world-renowned comedian.
Okay.
Oh, welcome,
hey,
Steve, to the
yeah.
Hype Podcast.
Yes.
Yo, Steve, tell him real quick. Get that plug in. Where that comedy club gonna be?
Well, actually, right now I'm down in Miami at a bar drinking, but I'm getting on a ship tomorrow. So I'm getting on Royal Caribbean tomorrow.
Okay.
Oh wow.
No, but where's your comedy club gonna be in Buffalo?
Please come see us. It's gonna be the Buffalo Night Owl. It's gonna be on Pearl and Chippewa. It's gonna have
Wow.
the second and the third floor. The second floor and the third floor will be opening up soon. And give me about 2 months and we should be open up because everything is going good now. The stage is done, the floors are in, and we're just rolling.
So they gonna get you
Okay.
on the podcast so you
Nice.
can talk.
Congrats.
And on my radio.
That's on the radio, yeah,
Sponsor-
warm up Friday.
sponsor my Warm It Up Fridays.
Yeah, warm it
Oh
up
my
Friday.
goodness.
But Steve, I
Holidays.
know you're busy right now, but they got a question for you.
Yes.
Okay. So the question is, so if you get this right, Tim wins $1 million
Or a high five.
or a high five, whichever one we decide. And if you don't get it right, then Tim has to give us $1 million, and there's no option. So there's no other option. So name 3 artists that were signed to Bad Boy.
3 artists assigned to Bad Boy.
Yeah, over the years.
Mace, G-Dep, Toto.
All right, that's it. That's
Yeah. I knew who to call. I knew.
Good job, Steve.
All right, man. I love you, man. We'll talk, baby.
Hey, Steve.
Hold on, Steve.
Steve, you still there?
Yes.
If the question was name 3 members of the Beatles, would you gotten that answer?
No.
Yes, you would. Say it. Go for it.
I would have gave you John Lennon.
Yep.
Ringo Starr, and the one Michael Jackson stole.
Yep.
Yeah. Paul McCartney.
Boom. See, yeah. Yo, my crew is cultured, baby.
All right. We'll give you 2.
He gets a high 5.
He gets 2 high fives.
All right, baby.
Thanks,
Love you.
Steve.
Safe travels, man.
All right.
Can't stomp me.
Yeah, that was good.
That was good.
That was good. You get a high five. And excuse the left. Yes.
Yeah.
So that was good. That was good.
Yeah, see, I know who the phone. I call CJ.
That was good. Yeah, you tried to call me.
Yeah, I did call you.
That was amazing.
No,
that was good.
That
was good.
You ain't.
All right, so
clear on the rules here.
We're back. That was fun. Quick, I just want to kind of bring us to the current, stage. We talked a lot today about a lot of different things, but I do want to give people the opportunity to hear more about what you do currently in your job, and I do want to get into a little bit of the opportunities that you provide the community by being at that job and that you're bringing forth. So let's just get right into that. So if you can introduce your job again, what you do, and then talk about what is it that you do in that position.
Yeah, so once again, I am the commissioner for New York State Department of Civil Service and the president of New York State Civil Service Commission. So that agency is responsible for what people are most familiar with is the civil service examinations that are made available for individuals to enter into state employment. And so since I've been there, we've worked on a bunch of initiatives to reduce and remove barriers to entry, to help individuals understand about the process, because a lot of people think it's like you have to know someone to get in. And one of the first things I did when I got to the agency is I did something called Coffee with the Commissioner. And in groups of about 15 to 20 individuals, I met with all the employees and just kicked it with them to better understand how they got there, what's important to them. And I would say probably about 98% of the individuals that were there or that work for my agency, they are there because they knew someone, whether it be a friend, a relative, mom or dad, cousin, something like that. Say, hey, you should come work for the state. State has great benefits, retirement plan, all that stuff. And so we have to change that up and demystify how you get into state government. So that is very important for me to be able to do that, to provide equitable access. And when you talked about it earlier, CJ, you said, hey, I'm back in the day, I really wasn't the greatest test taker. I didn't like the standardized tests and filling in the bubbles. And so for the longest time, that is what civil service was made up of filling in Scantron sheets and that. And so we have pushed it into what we call training and experience examinations. And so that's more of a survey where you fill out your history of training and experience that you've had on the job. And then we have a way of figuring out and spitting out a score. Okay. And so here's the impact of that. And so we have a professional career opportunity examination that was given maybe 4 years ago. It was in the pen and paper form, and maybe about 25,000 individuals participated with that, and so that meant we mailed out booklets to people. They filled it out, got it back, and that type of stuff. And then we did the same thing in 2022, but we changed it to what we call the T&E, the training experience. They were able to take it online, and they were able to take it over the course of a month, over 30 days. They had the opportunity to go in, fill it out a little bit, come back, get some more information. And so we saw that the rate of individuals that were able to pass this examination increased drastically. Because if you met the minimum qualification, which is having, at that time, which was having a college degree, a 4-year degree, you got the minimum score of a 70. And then you were able to increase your score by the amount of experience and training that you had. So that already began to level the field of opportunity for individuals that don't necessarily perform well on standardized tests. And so that's one of the things that we did. Another thing that we have coming up is a marketing campaign to do a few things, educate people on the opportunities that are available throughout New York State government, help individuals understand how to apply for the jobs, how to fill out and get a New York State ID, all that fun stuff, how to take a civil service examination. So that's pretty cool. Because currently we have over 12,000 vacancies. I'll say it again, we have over 12,000
jobs
vacancies across state government. And those are jobs that are across the state. Some are here in Buffalo, Rochester, Syracuse, New York City, all across the state.
That's 12,000 jobs.
Wow. Over 12,000 opportunities.
Over 12,000 opportunities. Yeah. That's major. That's major.
I think that marketing is essential, because I recently was looking for employment, and I did go through the state website, and it was difficult. I'm not going to lie. It was really hard to find like where I was going, what I'd be eligible for or qualify for. So I think that's great.
Yeah, we're really trying to educate individuals on that. We've made some YouTube videos on
what kind of jobs.
You name it, engineering, attorneys, working for parks and recreation, direct care workers, nurses, psychologists. I mean, so New York State, if you think about it, it's like one employer, but with a whole bunch of different agencies. You have the health department, you have mental health. You have agriculture. You have DOT, you have the Thruway Authority. You have all these opportunities, and the beautiful thing about it is you can get in to, say, one space. Say you get into civil service. You can go anywhere, right? You can go and do any of those different things. You have the law enforcement, New York State Police. You have the emergency team, right? You have the medics. All those different things are opportunities, and so I tell people, just get in, and then the world is yours. Everything you can imagine and think about is an opportunity inside of New York State government.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome, and I think that so how can the audience find the job?
So they can go to www.cs.ny.gov.
cs.ny.gov, y'all. Make sure y'all check that out, because if you're out there saying that there are no jobs and you can't find a job, I'm going to be like, you're not watching my podcast. You're not watching our podcast.
And if you're not watching the podcast, you ain't with it.
You ain't with it.
Now, can you still take the civil service online?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
Yeah. And so we're working through so many opportunities to reduce the barriers. Another thing that we have is for those that are familiar with civil service, the traditional model is that an examination is offered maybe once a year or once every few years on a Saturday or Sunday in a cramped schoolhouse or somewhere like that. And if you miss that opportunity, you have to wait a year or 2 years or 3 years. And so we were able to get legislation passed in the last cycle to offer continuous recruitment. And what that means is we will be doing testing 6 days a week throughout the state at 12 different locations. And so it'll be a Sunday through whatever. whatever that other day. But and so we're only closed one day, and we're looking at how do we offer at different times of the day and that type of stuff, so that we could we can respect a single parent, right? That may not have that opportunity to take it when we have it just that one time. And so one of the things that was critical for me in my career when I worked at General Motors is we really talked about the voice of the customer. And what that means is if you don't listen to what the customer is telling you, you'll be out of business if you're a private sector type company. And so when I look at it, I say, who is my customer? My customer are the agencies, New York State agencies that we are finding people to fill those positions for and advertising for and all that stuff. But also my customers is the community. And those that don't even realize that they may be interested in an opportunity to work for New York State because they heard how tough and difficult it is to get in. And so I go and listening towards, and I take that feedback and I say, how can we adjust this to make sure that they have an opportunity to participate? And so one of the things that under Governor Hogues' leadership, what was done in this last cycle is civil service examinations for the state cost anywhere from $15 to $45. So from now until 2025, there's no examination fee. People don't even have to pay to participate and take the examination, right? And so that's what we're talking about when we're talking about removing barriers to entry and to even try. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. I really wanted to kind of end off on that because I want people to have the opportunity to know what's available and how to proclaim excellence. Helping you proclaim excellence. That's the name of the show, and that's what we wanted to do. Listen, the other thing I'll say lastly is that, listen, if you're a graphic designer, whatever you do, look on that site to see if there's a job available, because you got to think about all the different jobs that the state needs, right? Filled. They need graphic designers. They need, I was speaking to one of the members on your team, and they were telling me that, hey, like, I'm a graphic designer, like, it's what I do. And I'm like, wow. And you can work for the state, and that comes along with a lot of benefits and all of that. So make sure y'all check out the website. Again, it's www.cs.ny.gov.
Yes, and free online testing. That's huge.
That's major. So make sure y'all check that out. Tim, it's been a pleasure. I think I might have to split this into 2 podcasts. I think this was pretty long this time, but we'll see.
Sorry about that.
No, hey,
good.
That's good. We have conversations. I think
I need y'all to phone in. Hit CJ up and say, hey, I think you might need a second co-host. I think you might need a second co-host.
Well, we might have to substitute you with Shayna when she's doing her taking care of herself thing.
Oh, don't downplay
talking about
that.
you.
Don't downplay
You're the
that.
busy one.
You said you need
we can hold it down.
If I
ever
take a vacation day,
I'm in.
You can be my.
I'm in.
Y'all let us know if y'all want that to happen.
Let them know.
We're not gonna find people as cool as me.
How can they reach out to you?
So let's tell it. That's Shayna's job. How do they reach us?
Yes. So go on Instagram. We are under Hype Podcast 716. Facebook, The Hype Podcast, and our website is hypepodcast716.com.
Let them know.
Yes.
So
get the commission.
Please come through. Vote for Tim Hougues.
Put the commission.
Yeah.
Put the commission, y'all.
Yeah. The commission.
The commission, yeah. But I do want to say one thing. And so you asked the question about how I got to where I'm at. And so one of the things that I really want to get across to the listeners of the Hype Podcast is, and this didn't happen to me until I was older in life and more confident, but I think it's important for individuals to be able to show up as their natural selves or whoever they are, and just go with that flow and be unapologetic about who you are. A lot of times we do a lot of code switching to sort of try to fit into whatever we think society wants us to be, but I guarantee you, if you just commit to being your authentic self, the world will be a better place.
Yeah!
Love that.
Yeah!
That's the way to end the show.
I'm
Shayna Van Dyne.
I am CJ. I'm supposed to go first.
I know, but I wanted to.
Wow.
I was being my authentic
self. You gotta go
self.
with the flow of life, man.
I was being my authentic self.
That was an audible on the flow.
No.
Okay. Headliner.
I'm like,
yo, it's the headliner.
Yo,
the headliner.
I'm like,
the headliner.
Who's the new offensive coach? I'm calling the plays. Like, wait a second. That's not what I said.
That's not. So what can't you do? I guess I can't call it audible anymore.
All right, go ahead. Do it again because I'm gonna go with the flow. Ready? Go.
No, I forget.
It don't work unless it flow. You broke it.
It's flowing.
You broke it. Go ahead.
Thank
do your
you
thing.
so much for listening to the Hype Podcast. I'm Shayna Van Dyne.
And I am CJ Banks.
And we had a great guest today.
Great guest.
Yo, I'm the commish.
Tim.
The new co-host. Yeah, baby.
He's not.
Filler.
Yeah,
he's
the filler.
The honorary
filler.
This is the honorary co-host.
The filler.
I hired him. He's hired.
The filler.
Okay. All right, y'all. We out.
Peace. I love it, man. I love it.